When you think about purpose plus innovation equaling opportunity, I think it's worth going back a little bit to think about the history and where we've come from in terms of business. My name is Perry Yeatman, and I'm delighted to be here today to talk about something that I am personally really passionate about, the intersection between business and society. 100 years ago, most businesses actually were founded on the principle of trying to solve a social issue. It was a stakeholder model. You cared about everybody that it took for you to be successful. So your employees mattered, your supply chain mattered, your communities mattered. But we really shifted more to what I think of as a shareholder mindset. To quote Milton Friedman, that the business of business was business. Companies, when they addressed these things, they did it because they felt they had to. They did it through foundations, they did it through giving and philanthropy. It was a sideline on the business. It was never the core. And that's been completely proven to be a mistake. The data is very clear that in every industry, consumers are voting with their wallets and going places where they can see that if it's the same price, quality, value, they are always going to pick the one that they feel is more socially responsible. Tom's, for example, they're the innovator of the one-for-one model. When they started about 10 years ago, did we really need another shoe company? I don't think so. That really wasn't the problem. But what made them different and what has made them successful is that they created not just a good product at a reasonable price that was fashion forward and comfortable, but they actually created a business model where every single time a consumer bought a pair of Tom's shoes, somebody who didn't have a pair of shoes benefited. That, I believe, is the absolute reason that that company has been successful and has grown exponentially over the past decade. If you look at Unilever, for example, I love Unilever, and Paul Pullman today is absolutely the poster child for big companies looking at trying to drive growth through social innovation. And when I say social innovation, let me be clear. What I'm really talking about is where you combine a very clear business need, business objective with a clear social imperative. He has bet the $60 billion, 100-plus year history of that company on a sustainable growth plan. Why is Unilever beating P&G today when they've been rivals for 100 years? People will tell you it's about the mission. It's about the fact that Unilever has made it so clear that they want to double their business and half their footprint, half their negative impact in the world by 2020. But it's in their DNA. When Unilever was founded by Lord Lever, bar soap came to being because he was actually trying to reduce cholera in Victorian England. So the entire company was actually founded trying to solve a social issue. But they didn't stop there. They were one of the first companies in the world to create an entire village for their workers. It was called Port Sunlight. They provided housing, they provided education, they provided health care. Their view was if our workers are healthy and educated, then they are going to do better. So they saw it as a productivity move and also a social responsibility. I think that is a great way to think about it. Everybody's trying to figure out how do we get more millennials, how do we work with millennials, how do we make them productive? And the bottom line is they're telling us the answer. The answer is they want to work for organizations that have meaning. They want to feel that they're making a positive difference in the world by the work that they do. And if we can't offer that, they're not interested in working with us. Today, Unilever, if you look at the surveys, they are now the second most desired employer in North America behind like Google. They are now more desired. People are more motivated. Their employees are more productive. They have a lineup of people who want to work for Unilever now. And I bet that they will be around for another 100 years because of doing this. Business is the single driving force for social good in the world. It has lifted more millions of people out of poverty than anything else. It is sustainable, scalable, and replicable, but it has to be done right. It has to be baked into the mission. You need to look at your consumers. You need to look at what is the social need that you could deliver in a lot of companies that are doing this well, whether that be Unilever or whether that be Tom's or, I would argue, credit unions.
People helping people has been the foundation of the credit union movement for 100 years. A credit union is a type of financial provider that is about people, not profits. I'm Samantha Paxson, and I work at Co-op Financial Services. Co-op is a financial technology company that serves credit unions across the country. We give them access to ATMs and we connect their branches together. We give them financial tools like apps and mobile banking and digital services and credit and debit card services. We serve about 3,500 financial institutions and about 60 million consumers. Credit unions are local. They're focused on a particular type of community. There are credit unions that serve the LBGT community. There's a pot growers community credit union. There's a kind of credit union for everyone. The credit unions like to say we're the best deal in town. But I like to say, why are they the best deal in town? Because they care about you. They want to make sure that people do not get caught in a financial product that would harm them, even though it would make money for the financial institution.
Who would have thought an old world company like credit unions, right? It's an old company, it's an old model. There is a lot of tradition there, but they are now sexy.
People are hungry for this kind of financial services provider. They are starving for it. If being purpose-driven is good for our bottom line, great. It truly is not only good for people, but it's good for business. And that's okay. That's okay for us to say that as an industry. We want to grow. We want to have the opportunity to be providing more impact. We stumbled upon Yubi as a really fun startup under 2 years old.
Yubi is a super cool, awesome school supply company. We thought, if you make these school supplies really colorful, exciting, and engaging, the kids are going to want to use them, and that creates an investment between the kid and their own education. For every school supply that you buy, we donate a school supply to classrooms in need right here in the US. Yubi launched just over a year and a half ago, and in that time, we have donated free school supplies to about 1.4 million kids. In large part because of our social impact, we launched nationwide in every single Target store across the country. And I think that model is really repeatable. I mean, any company can really do this. Right, give me a high five for that right there. I thought you have to make a decision between making a lot of money and doing a lot of good. You don't have to make that decision. You will make more money by doing more good.
Looking at Greyston Bakery. They're this little bakery in Yonkers.
Our founder, Bernie Glassman, had a vision of really combining business with social justice. His ideas are almost more on point than they were 33 years ago when he started them. We're most well known for actually making brownies for Ben & Jerry's ice cream. When we think about the business of Greyston, we don't really think about the business of Greyston being brownies. The business of Greyston is about open hiring and innovating on our social justice model. There's no background checks, there's no interview, there's no reference checks. We are really most concerned about people's productivity in the future. We have no interest in what they've done in the past. When I can talk to customers about more than just the product, it's an incredible competitive advantage.
Because they're purpose-driven, their products are now being provided at scale across the world.
Greystone and Tom's, I love the fact that one of the things they describe is they're actually a mission that needed a company in order to deliver the mission. I think it's almost an unprecedented opportunity for credit unions. I mean, the time could never be better when you have two things intersecting so beautifully. One is the financial industry as a whole has never been more hated. Nobody wants to go there if they don't have to. And simultaneously, you've got this trend back towards really caring about purpose and about mission. It is rare in history that you're going to get two things combining so clearly so that you actually have a benefit against competition and you've got a consumer base that is primed and telling you it wants this.
We have just gone through one of the worst economic periods in our most recent history. Credit unions have really been the place that people can go where they know they're not going to get taken advantage of. It is not about making money.
Access to capital in ways that is affordable and that is practical for these individuals. It's a huge part of the answer for them to finally break the cycle of poverty. Then people actually have money to invest in other things. It is a win-win-win. shocked that more people don't actually use credit unions. And in fact, I would ask the reverse question, which is, what is it that is holding credit unions back?
We're authentically positioned to help people in their lives.
People should understand that they not only get a better banking product, but they actually are banking on themselves. They're banking on their friends and their community.
We can be an industry of intrapreneurs. We can look inside our industry and think like a startup inside a 100-year-old business.
And that is, to me, kind of the epitome of looking at something where you take innovation and purpose and it creates opportunity.